The desert doesn't whisper here, it sings. Under skies brushed in lavender and fire orange, Arizona unfolds like a dream you didn't know you had. This isn't just a state. It's a symphony of stone and sun, where ancient canyons carve time into the earth, and every mile is a new canvas of color, light, and wonder. From the towering red rocks of Sedona to the bottomless mysteries of the Grand Canyon, from cactus-lined highways to stargazers' heavens, Arizona welcomes the wild-hearted traveler with arms full of sun and soul. This is a land where you don't just see beauty, you feel it in your bones. So pack lightly, but bring your curiosity, your awe, your craving for something real. Because Arizona isn't just a place you visit, it's a place that visits you, stays with you, long after the dust has settled and the photos fade. Let's hit the road. Something about the way the rocks catch the light in Sedona. Not just red, but burning, glowing, alive, like the earth itself is blushing beneath the sky. Winding into town, the road becomes a corridor of towering monoliths, rust-red spires and mesas that rise like ancient altars against an endless blue dome. Every curve reveals a new sculpture of stone, chiseled not by man but by time and wind and silence. This is Sedona, a desert sanctuary where the land hums with something unseen. Step onto the trail to Cathedral Rock and it's not just a hike, it's a quiet pilgrimage. The path climbs gently at first, then steepens, winding through juniper and whispering winds. At the saddle, the view stretches in every direction. Red cliffs, green valleys, distant peaks, and in the air, stillness. Not far away, the trail to Devil's Bridge curves through sun-baked forest and slick rock. At its end, a natural stone arch suspended over canyon air, daring hearts and camera shutters alike. Step carefully. Breathe deeply. The silence here feels different, charged. Locals speak of vortexes, invisible wells of energy said to swirl at places like Bell Rock and Boynton Canyon. Believer or not, there's no denying the pull. It's in the way the wind dances and how the landscape wraps around the soul. By afternoon, pink jeeps crawl across slick sandstone, roaring up impossible slopes, kicking up dust and laughter. Off-road adventures meet spiritual stillness, a blend that only Sedona could conjure. And as the sun begins to fall, head to Airport Mesa, where golden light sets the rocks ablaze. The whole valley ignites in flame-colored peace. Down below, boutique galleries glow, desert art spilling into twilight. Here in Sedona, the land doesn't speak. It sings. In color, in stillness, in soul. In the far north of Arizona, where the land folds in quiet reverence and the sky stretches like a painter's canvas, the earth begins to whisper. Not in words, but in shapes, shadows, and stone. This is Page, a desert town perched above wonders carved by wind and water. Step inside Antelope Canyon, and the world narrows. Sunlight filters through narrow slits above, slicing the sandstone into waves of molten gold and violet. The air is cool, still, almost sacred. Each turn unveils a sculpture, smooth walls, flowing like silk, spiraling upward in frozen motion. It's a canyon built not by force, but by patience. Thousands of years of flash floods carving silence into art. Footsteps echo. Dust dances in shafts of light, and beneath your hand, the stone feels soft, like time itself worn smooth. Then, climb back into the daylight, to the rim of Horseshoe Bend. Here, the Colorado River coils like a serpent, a perfect curve etched deep into the plateau. Stand at the edge, toes inches from a 1,000-foot drop, as wind rushes past in a breathless hush. The river far below gleams green and copper, winding through stone like it has nowhere else to go. Golden hour transforms everything. The cliffs catch fire. Shadows stretch long. A single boat leaves a silent wake across the water, the only sign of motion in a world standing still. This is nature in its quiet grandeur, formed not by chaos, but by rhythm, by erosion, by elegance, by time. And in Page, the silence is louder than words. It carves itself into memory, like canyon walls kissed by sun. When the last ember of sunset fades, Arizona doesn't go dark. It awakens. Above the ponderosa forests of Flagstaff, the sky opens like a velvet curtain. This is a dark sky city, where streetlights dim and silence deepens, all to make space for something greater. Stars shimmer by the hundreds, then by the thousands. Orion rises. The Milky Way spills across the heavens like powdered silver. Farther out, in the vast stillness of Oracle State Park or the remote reaches of Grand Canyon Parashant, the night becomes ancient. Coyotes cry in the distance, wind stirs through juniper, and above, infinity. Here the cosmos aren't viewed, they're felt. A reminder that above this wild, rugged land, something eternal waits quietly. In Arizona, the stars aren't just above you, they're within reach. And as the night settles over cactus, canyon, and city alike, the journey ends not with a goodbye, but with wonder. In the heart of southern Arizona, where mountains blur into desert and silence wears the weight of time, stands an army of giants, Saguaro National Park. A sacred stretch of the Sonoran Desert is where the land slows its breath and listens. Towering saguaro cacti, some over 40 feet tall, pierce the sky like green-ribbed guardians of a forgotten world. Their arms reach out, some twisted, some proud, each shaped by wind and decades of desert sun. They've stood here longer than lifetimes. One cactus may outlive generations, silently witnessing the shifting sands of history. Step onto the Valley View Overlook Trail, where the desert opens wide, a canvas of ochre soil, sun-bleached stones, and spiky silhouettes. The air carries a soft rustle, the flutter of desert birds, the hum of cicadas, the dry crackle of footsteps on gravel. After a rare rain, the sweet perfume of creosote hangs in the air, earthy and warm, like the land exhaling. Golden hour arrives gently. Light spills sideways, softening the harshness bathing the saguaros in amber glow. Shadows stretch long across the sand. Every cactus becomes a sculpture, every glance a photograph. Look closer. A Gila woodpecker flits from one ribbed pillar to another. A jackrabbit vanishes into brittle brush. The desert isn't empty, it's just quiet and alive in its own rhythm. This is the soul of the Sonoran, a place where time stretches, light deepens, and the ancient breath of the desert lingers in every still, sun-soaked frame. Out in the Arizona desert, where the landscape burns bronze and the sun rules without mercy, there's a shimmer on the horizon that doesn't vanish. It's not a mirage. It's Lake Havasu, a bold blue surprise cradled by rust-red cliffs and open skies. The water here sparkles like polished glass. Palm trees sway gently along the shoreline. The mood? Effortless. Alive, breezy. Boats drift lazily in coves, music echoing from somewhere across the lake. Paddleboards glide past granite outcrops, laughter carries over water. Engines hum, then vanish into the horizon. This is a place where time floats, where mornings melt into afternoons without permission. And then, the unexpected. London Bridge. Standing proud in the desert sun, stone by stone, shipped across the Atlantic and rebuilt on these shores. Its arches reflect on the turquoise surface below, a surreal blend of English history and American freedom. As golden hour settles in, the lake glows. Shadows soften. The breeze cools. On shore, feet press into warm sand, while the scent of grilled food and lake air lingers. Lake Havasu doesn't rush. It drifts, it dances, it breathes. A tropical heartbeat carved into the desert, young, sunlit, and endlessly free. As the desert fades behind, the air begins to cool. Pines replace cacti. The road winds upward, into Arizona's high country, where echoes of the Old West linger in wood and wind. First comes Jerome, a town that clings to the mountainside like it's afraid of falling. Once a roaring copper boom town, now a living ghost. It leans into its haunted history. Cracked sidewalks pass shuttered saloons, creaky staircases, and vintage storefronts filled with oddities. Step into the Jerome Grand Hotel, where chandeliers flicker and floors groan with memory. Some say spirits roam the halls, former miners, gamblers, lovers, still chasing unfinished stories in the mountain air. Down the ridge, the vibe softens. Prescott unfolds in Victorian charm, a storybook square lined with old-timey shops, shaded porches, and the slow strum of guitars drifting from patios. Whiskey Row glows under warm lamplight, where saloons once served cowboys and outlaws. Today, the whiskey still flows, but with a smoother finish. The scent of pine needles lingers in the breeze. Historic trains rumble through forested hills. And somewhere between ghost stories and golden hour stillness, the past doesn't feel far away. In these mountain towns, Arizona trades sun-scorched edges for cool mystery and timeless character. Dust settles, and history breathes. At first glance, Phoenix feels like a mirage, a sprawl of shimmering glass and sun-soaked streets rising from the desert floor. But listen closer, feel deeper, and the rhythm of this capital city begins to pulse. Mornings begin in motion. The trail up Camelback Mountain twists through rugged stone and cactus-lined ridges. With each step, the cityscape unfurls beneath a pale orange sky. Sweat beads, air thins, and at the summit, breathless silence, pierced only by the distant hum of a waking metropolis. Then the city stirs. Downtown hums to life. Coffee carts hiss with steam, and palms sway above wide boulevards. In Roosevelt Row, walls explode with color. Murals stretch 5 stories high, art born from heat, grit, and culture. On First Fridays, the streets transform into open-air galleries, where musicians jam under neon halos and painters sell dreams beneath string lights. By midday, the heat tightens its grip. Shade becomes treasure. Inside the Desert Botanical Garden, trails wind between blooming cacti and delicate desert blooms. Glass sculptures shimmer in the sunlight, tucked among ironwood trees. Hummingbirds dart like sparks. When the sun begins to fall, the mood shifts again. Taco trucks line quiet corners, filling the air with the scent of charred carne asada and fresh lime. Rooftop lounges buzz with golden hour chatter, and in every direction the desert glows, a city framed by mountains, burning soft under pink and coral skies. Phoenix doesn't beg for attention, it radiates. A city of contrasts, where fire meets flora, art meets asphalt, and every horizon hums with possibility. The screen fades from black, a hush, then light. Not just any light, but the first blush of dawn over Mather Point, where the horizon stretches wider than imagination and the earth seems to breathe in silence. The Grand Canyon doesn't announce itself. It reveals, layer by ancient layer, a cathedral carved by wind and time, where sunrise doesn't rise, it ignites. Golden light drips down stone walls a mile deep, painting reds into fire and shadows into poetry. The silence here isn't empty, it's sacred. Only the call of an eagle echoes across the void, slicing through a silence that feels like a hymn. Step closer. The Colorado River, once a whisper, now roars below, unseen but ever present, carving, sculpting, defying. It's been at work for millions of years, chiseling the soul of the American Southwest. On the Bright Angel Trail, boots crunch on dusty earth as the canyon envelops you. Every turn unveils a new layer. Ochre walls, twisted pines clinging to cliffs, fossil-studded stones whispering of vanished oceans. The scent of dry sagebrush rises with the sun, and sweat gathers as elevation shifts. Time slows, the sky expands. Above, helicopters drift like dragonflies, circling the canyon's massive frame. From up there, the scale hits. This isn't a place you walk through. It's a place that consumes you. Deep veins of color streak through ancient stone like brushstrokes from Earth's own palette. Then, switch perspectives. Raft the Colorado itself. Glide between canyon walls that rise like skyscrapers of stone. Feel the thunder of water slamming into rocks, the laughter echoing off walls, the spray of ancient water kissed by desert heat. By midday, heat pulses off the canyon floor. Shadows retreat. Lizards scurry across sun-warmed rock, and then clouds gather, seemingly from nowhere. The canyon makes its own weather, conjuring storms from still skies, throwing lightning bolts across painted cliffs. Thunder rolls through a chamber built by tectonics, not man. This is no mere canyon. This is a sermon in stone, a cathedral of silence and sound, a reminder of time's scale and nature's endless hand. And at its edge, under a bleeding orange sunset,